These images first happened backstage at the John Galliano show in Paris. I was back there probably 5 years ago now, and it was really dark. And there was an opportunity there to utilize the flashes of all the other photographers who were covering the backstage. And what we did is, I initially started with just the long shutter speed, and other photographers' flashes actually started illuminating these models in multiple poses for me. And that was when I kind of got back home and downloaded them, said, there's something really cool to be had here. And so we spent the next 5 years working on various techniques to expand upon it. And there are a few key elements in a show that make it really work for the Backstage series. The first element is, what's the general background? Is it bright or is it dark? Because these images require longer exposures, shows that are in a very bright daylit space don't work as well for these images. So it's typically going to be a show that's an evening or a night show. It's going to be something where there's a darker environment, potentially where there's just been a lot of black set up around the backstage, as opposed to, say, the white of the tents at New York Fashion Week, where it doesn't work as well. And then makeup-wise and model-wise, it doesn't make a difference if there's big hair or small hair, if there is bright makeup or muted makeup. In this particular situation, I try to kind of emphasize what is unique about that show, what's unique about the makeup. If it has glitter, then I would want to show all the glitter and maybe streak it. If it's something where it's more muted and soft, then I would try to create a more soft, muted image. It's really trying to use these techniques to capture the emotion that's happening at the show. There is no one technique that's used. It's more of getting into the backstage environment and seeing what's right for that particular show. So it's a combination of long exposures, multiple flashes. It can be post in Photoshop on some of the images. It can also be shutter drag, it can be panning, it can be the zoom lens. It's using all of those in combination to really feel what the emotion of that show is, and to take that and bring it into a still photo that has its own life and its own movement to it. I think for me, these images now represent a period in time at the shows. They started right before the crash of 2008. Those first couple seasons of Galliano were very bright and lively colors, and then all of a sudden everything became black and darker. It was just a more painful period for everybody. Every photographer I know was going through a tough time. The fashion designers were having a tough time. Sales were down. And I think that the images in that kind of second and third year really reflect the difficulty that the industry was in general. And then there's this kind of slow movement back up and out. And it wasn't something where just one season could have conveyed it. It was something where over the 5 years, 10 seasons that I've been working on this series, that you've seen how this technique has been able to interpret different aspects of what was happening in the world as a whole. The fashion designers, the art directors on the shows, the lighting directors on the shows, the producers who are creating the backstage, they're really presenting to me a scene, and my job is to interpret that scene and to take the emotion of that scene and interpret it in a way that is through me, like through what I'm feeling at the moment. Really, everything artistically is placed in front of me, and I kind of sit back and watch the choreography of it all happen and like pick a moment in there and try to express that moment through the various techniques of motion that I talked about previously.